So I know you don't feel like you deserve to be in certain rooms, but listen to this story. Maybe this changes your mind. Some years ago, I got out of the military. When I got out of the military, I went back to my hometown and I went to the church that I grew up in. I had spent 4 years away in the military. And my pastor asked me for the summer, would I work with the youth? Now, I didn't really know a lot of these kids. I knew some of them, but I didn't know them. And when I started working with them, I started to recognize right away, I didn't have any rapport with them. I didn't feel like I was connecting with them. I didn't feel like anything I said was landing with them. They were always really quiet. They didn't participate. They didn't talk back. They didn't answer any questions. And I was like, yo, this ain't working. And I tried some creative things to try to really get them into it. And it felt like nothing was working out for me. And I was like, man, this is not it. After a few months of this, I was like, you know what? I'm wasting their time and I'm wasting my time. I think I'm going to go do something else. I think this is the last week I'm going to do this, and I'm going to let them know tonight, one Wednesday night. And that Wednesday night, I prepared to talk to them about how I will be moving on. I wish them well and all this other stuff. And one of the kids stood up and said, hey, you know what's weird? I was like, what's that? Every time you talk, it's like exactly what we're doing. We're at our school or something. I was like, what are you talking about? He said, you told this story about this thing that you went through in high school, and I went through the exact same thing. And I did what you did, and it turned out okay. I was like, that's cool. Another girl stood up. She said, you know what? You were saying that you had a friend that did this and did this, and she went to this church, and she decided to go do this, and I did that too, and I ended up getting a scholarship because I just went and tried it. Oh, wow. Another kid stood up and said, hey, man, I was going through it with my dad, but you told me to do this thing that you did, and it ended up working out. I was like, are y'all serious? I had no idea. And they were saying, we're quiet because we don't understand how you know so much about us. How do I know? What? I couldn't tell them that I wanted to quit because I felt like I knew nothing about them. And nothing I said felt like it was landing or having any impact. And then I turn around and hear them say this, and I recognize sometimes when you don't think you belong in the room, you were designed to be in the room. And it doesn't feel like you're landing. You're a cog in the wheel. And that cog doesn't necessarily feel like it's as important as other parts of the component that makes this thing go. But you have significance, you have impact, and you have influence. Whether you want to believe that or not, you're designed to be in certain rooms. Here's what I need you to understand. One plants, one waters, God gets the increase. It means that sometimes you're not going to get the recognition you think. Sometimes you're not going to get the result that you think. Sometimes you're not going to be the one to see it to fruition. Sometimes you're not going to be the one to get to the promised land, although you can help somebody get out of Egypt. I'm just saying. I know you're working on a project right now. You've been part of a committee. You've been working on this job. You've been in this family sacrificing, and people aren't saying anything. You don't think anybody has noticed. You don't think it's making a difference for anybody. But I need you to understand that the only reason that you're in that place is because you're keeping things together quietly behind the scenes. And no, you're not going to get the recognition, but it does not work without you. And it's hard, but you got to take solace in that. And that one waters, somebody else is going to plant. God will be the one that get the increase over all the things that you have done. You belong in the room. You're gifted enough. You do have significance. You do have impact. You do have influence. Remember that the goal is growth. Growth happens in the journey. Enjoy it.